Hi, everybody. We are back, and I am here with Kennedy, and I am ready to get this interview started. Kennedy, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Cool. Well, we've sort of had a tradition the last couple weeks, Daisy. Do you want to stay on top of it?
I am extremely down to do that.
Hit
And
me.
that tradition, this has become is this more channel folklore
Yeah,
now? When you say tradition, I'm like, I think it's channel
this
folklore
is
now.
more of our own
I
channel
think it's
folklore on
official.
the show, yeah.
Yeah. So hey everybody, you know every week that we ask guests questions, and this week is no different. We're asking Kennedy questions, but if you hear a question that you like, it wasn't necessarily thought of by Dom and I. It was in part created by a team of interview sleuths that we have on this here Folkwise show behind the scenes. So if you hear a question you like, don't necessarily thank us, thank the wonderful and intrepid and valuable and gorgeous and great people that we have behind the scenes to help us make those questions.
Like, I don't disagree with any of your adjectives. You just add a lot every time.
I just want them to know they're important.
All right. Thank you, Daisy, and thank you, Sleuths. Kennedy, I'm going to get into this interview.
Okay.
So you mentioned it a little bit, actually, when we started playing Mortal Kombat, but can you go into more detail and break down what intersectional active listening is?
Oh, yeah. So that's not my. Oh, I guess it partially is. So it
Partially,
was
yeah.
informed. Yeah. So it was informed by one of my really good friends, and now doctor at Dartmouth, Ali Martin. I do a lot of
Yeah.
hand talking, so my
Good.
bad.
It's a visual
But
medium.
yeah. I feel like Zoom and other screen formats have like honed that in that I do this. But like, yeah. So she came up with this term intersectional listening that I
Hmm.
think is really was really useful to think about with like how and then Dylan Robinson who wrote the book Hungry Listening, which I also recommend, that talks about like indigenous modes of like listening practices, uses the term listening position or positionality listening or something like that. But they both get at this idea that like you can't separate yourself from the listening process, so you bring your own biases to how you hear things. So when I was writing this paper, denying Black girlhood, racialized listening practices in the elementary classroom, and working on it with Fernando Orihuela, who's one of my mentors here at IU, um, he asked like, well, I was like talking about what we're taught in education. So my background's in music ed, if
Hmm.
no one knows that. And so what we're taught a lot is like active listening, which is like, I don't know. I feel like it's really ambiguous, like how
Yeah.
it's defined for educators. Like it's supposed to be that you're actively listening, but what does that mean? I don't know. Um, and so like I was trying to add more nuance to that term, by like thinking about how by bringing in intersectionality and like bringing in your actual self with all of your intersections in your listening processes, and then also in how you hear the people that you are listening to. So it's like a reflexive process. You get like this idea of intersectional active listening, is what I thought about in that paper. Now, like I'm kind of leaning towards this term that I'm still fleshing out, but like pedagogies of audibility
Mm.
is what I'm interested in thinking and fleshing more out about, like how can we like teach that? Like I don't know. Other than to like unpack our own shit. And then like also think of the other person we're listening to as fully human. But yeah, that's what that is if I explained that well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think I actually want to ask, like, what do you see as the main? Oh, thank you very much, T Papas, for the gift subs.
Whoa,
Uh,
thank you.
what do you see as like the main like useful difference between, uh, uh or the I guess main the main things that are useful, not necessarily different, with pedagogies of audibility? Like, what's making you turn to that phrase now?
Yeah, so I'm mainly interested in education, I think, and like how can I convey these ideas to a wider audience? And like I know, and like I think intersectionality is becoming a buzzword, which is good in some ways. But also, like, I feel like it loses its meaning, and like intersectionality is still at like the heart of what I do as like a Black feminist. But I think to make it readily recognizable to like the masses, I think pedagogies of audibility is more easy to grasp. I think that's one thing. But in how I'm thinking of defining it, it does definitely include intersectionality, as
Sure.
with I think everything in life. But yeah, I feel like that's why I feel like that's not necessarily more useful, but that's what I think I would want to highlight in my work specifically, because like I do see myself as like an educator before like an academic. Not that those things are separate
Yeah.
always, but like I always like see myself and hope to work in K through 12 or pre-K through 12 in college. So like I always will work with like those people before I work with the ivory tower.
Sure.
So yeah, anyway,
Yeah,
if
then
that makes
that does make perfect sense, actually. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I think going like a little bit into the field work behind that article you mentioned.
Mhm.
Let me know if this is the right way to phrase this too. How can being an ethnomusicologist like yourself and having like an attentiveness to sounds and soundscapes change the ways teachers engage in pre-K to 12 classroom spaces?
You say that one more time.
Yeah. How is being an ethnomusicologist and like having an attentiveness to soundscapes change the way teachers can engage in classroom spaces?
Yeah. So I literally just revisited my dissertation proposal because I'm applying for stuff. As
It's funny
grad
how that
students
keeps
always
happening.
do. Yeah, I knew this grad student gig economy is it's a whole beast. But yeah, and so like I said something that like I thought was pretty good. So I'm just gonna say it again. It's like as an ethnomusicologist, I think like we're allowed to privilege sound in ways that other disciplines or other professions may not necessarily think of. And so I think like with when it comes to listening, we don't necessarily think of how we hear people to affect how we see them. Specifically because like we still think of race as like this completely visual phenomenon
Mm.
when it's also informed by the sonic, which is why we have stuff like blackface minstrelsy, which like has like this whole minstrelized version of what blackness is. Even though that's in the past, it continues to today. Like if you go on TikTok with some of like the younger kids, like they use like a black accent, right? And so I think it's important to understand how that creeps into our own understandings of our students in particular, especially like and it's not even like a white teacher, black and brown student thing. Like I feel like it affects all of us because anti-blackness is a global thing
Yeah.
that seeps
Yeah.
into like every aspect of society. And so I think like I think like it's an unexamined area of how racism operates, in my opinion, or under examined. I would, and so I think like I don't know if I'm answering your question. I think I am.
You are answering my question very well.
I
Yeah.
think like I think like it's important to pay attention to sound and how we understand sound and how we understand speech and honor people's speech in the classroom in particular, because like I've heard I don't know, I talked about it in that paper I wrote, but like how my supervising teacher, which I I don't know, sometimes I feel bad, but I'm like also you were awful. But like the paper I wrote,
Sure, yeah.
but like she would just like call students like ghetto and stuff, and it's like I was like they're the smartest person in the class. I was like who cares if they're ghetto and what does ghetto mean to you? Like I don't understand. And usually ghetto is shorthand for not white,
Yeah.
stereotypically feminine, not and like all of these things. And so I think like we get at those things by the listening. So that's why I think sound is important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I like the flute. I think like band is important. I was looking at
Oh
my
yeah.
proposal today. Oh yeah.
So this is kind of like a related thread based on a part of how you answered that question, but
Mhm.
I want to talk a little bit about your blog post about the large number of children's songs in like the American folk song canon that are derived from minstrel songs. Did you have like a first moment where you realized a song you grew up with like had this terrible racist history behind it? Well,
Yeah.
what song is that?
I've been working on the railroad. When I was student teaching. So if you don't know, it comes from this song, the Levee song, that was Princeton.
Okay.
Princeton used to sing it. Actually, I think they still do sing it, but like a sanitized version of it, but it's still problematic, even though it's sanitized.
Yeah.
And so the Levee song, it's not what's sung along with I've Been Working on the Railroad. I've Been Working on the Railroad that we know today was the chorus. But the part that came before it, the verses, were blackface tunes and involved the students dressing in blackface. And I can actually, I think if it's in the blog post, the recording, if you want to listen to it, it's there. And also, I think I included the sheet music. Again, that was also produced out of rage.
But
like
rage, yes, but you were so thorough with all the sheet music. It's really impressive.
That's what people say. Like, I'm a productive, angry person.
That's I don't know. That like resonates with me a lot too. I feel like if you're people make things for a reason, and it's nice when you're angry to be like, well, here's the reason.
Yeah, it's because like that's why I actually came to grad school, because I was just mad. Like I decided to because I was mad with because I wasn't student teaching at the time, but like I knew I had to. But then like I knew I was upset with how the music education system in the United States went, because like you have to teach these songs because they're thought of as the American canon.
Yeah.
So I've Been Working on the Railroad was something I realized when I was student teaching, and like I refused to teach it, but my supervising teacher was pretty adamant, because she said it's like a core part of someone's learning, because it teaches them it teaches them the rondo form. And I was like, there are other songs with
that's
the rondo
literally the only rondo.
Yeah, and so a rondo, if you don't know, it's basically like you have an A section, you have a B section, goes back to an A, then it goes to another section, then it repeats. There are other songs that do that. And so I was like, we can abandon that song. It's easy to.
Yeah.
So that was something. But before that, Stephen Foster was something that also like kind of started me thinking like, oh, we're taught this from a young age. So Stephen Foster is like thought of as the father of American music, and the core of our folk song in the United States. And children are taught these songs like, oh, Susanna is his, My Kentucky Home, which I think is the Kentucky state's state script.
They open legislative sessions by singing it in Kentucky.
Yeah, these are all blackface minstrelsy tunes. And it's like, I don't think we can sanitize our way out of it being rooted in that history. And so, yeah, I think, like, as I think I say in the blog, I don't know, but if it's not clear, I don't think like we should like forget about those songs, but they don't belong in the classroom. Especially the elementary classroom, where you can't properly historicize them, and so you just have kids singing them and not. And like the moment I realized that, like I was singing these songs and not knowing the history of it, and I was like, shit, I was singing blackface minstrelsy tunes as a Black woman. Like that's crazy. And so, or wild. And so anyway, I just
school made me do that.
Yeah, and then it's written in it's not even like teacher by teacher basis. It's like written in the state curricula.
Yeah,
and like that's the wild part. It's like that. Yeah, it's almost like our country was founded on blackness.
What?
Yeah.
Almost.
I mean, yeah, almost. And like many of those students are like never gonna touch an instrument again, and like so to remember fondly the musical endeavor of like elementary school being around these specific songs, like that the songs that they learn are going to be the ones that they remember. Like, why do I know hot cross buns? Like, hope that's not racist.
Because you like cinnamon. You like pastries.
No, I do like a lot of pastries, but like I think people they don't, not like they're musing on them, but like as a formative experience, that being your introduction to music is like,
And
you would think somebody would have something to say about that, and apparently
like not to like
water. Like, what the hell?
yeah, not to rant, but to also rant just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's your interview. Ran
So,
away.
like,
It's your interview. Yes.
Yeah, and so like this isn't just me being like I'm a Black studies person and like I'm gonna tell you how things are all racist and like how, but music ed in this country was created so we could have like this allegiance to country, because like that's like the easiest way that they thought that we could like and like I can send you the documents if you don't believe me, like it's not just me being like some radical.
No,
Or
no.
my mom called me, she calls me her little militant
Aww. It's the little that I'm on, not the militant. The militancy is respectable. It's the little that makes me go, aw.
Yeah, I will say also, like, if you, somebody said that like when your students start rebelling against you, you have done your job as a like a radical teacher in that way. So like, I don't know, if somebody gives you, I see that as like a win.
Yeah, but
somebody's like frustrated by what you're bringing to the table, like you're teaching.
So yeah, they wanted to have like teach folk song in the United States for us to have like this blind allegiance, or not blind, allegiance to the United States. And so one of these ways that they thought could teach us to not humanize Black people in particular, and then also Indigenous people with other songs that we have, were through these folk songs, right? And then like still keeping them in the canon when we could just write more.
Yeah.
Or we could
canonize other stuff.
Anything else. Yeah.
I remember this whole debate coming around, like around like the origins of like square dance in public school a few years ago. But also, as something T. Pappas said in chat, if Daisy will allow me to read a chat question.
Go ahead.
Didn't RZA create a new song for ice cream trucks for similar reasons? T. Pappas asks in chat.
Oh, I don't know that, but I know the ice cream truck song is racist.
Yeah.
I read about that. Let me see if I could post a song. I read about that too.
There was an NPR article I remember everyone shared.
Yeah.
And I think you cite in your blog
like
post.
Yeah, I do talk about it. It's based off of like the N-word loves a watermelon.
Yeah.
Is what it's based
on. I remember that NPR article being like very 2014 like internet culture, because I think it starts with, "We regret to inform you that." Yeah. It's like very much like you're doing it wrong internet era.
Yeah, it's I think what that shows too, that even the ice cream song, like something so innocent as that, is informed by like anti-Blackness, and it's like just such like a part of the soundscape of our country.
There's something like so sinister about it being like specifically a song that is meant to evoke joy for children too, that I think the affect is like bad vibe.
Yeah,
but it's like,
even that, it's like blackface minstrelsy is the United States' first popular music. You know, like it's the first thing that we produced that was ours musically, on a global stage, and it's like that was like so popular that it became globalized. And so it's like it is wild, but like then it's like it makes sense, but it's still I don't know, this is what I grapple with. Like really, like I'm like, I should know this intellectually, but it still blows my mind anyway.
Let's get to some much more chill, happier topics. You spoke a little bit about Art Mix Indie, and so remind chat what Art Mix Indie is, but specifically, what do you do there?
Yeah, so I'm a teaching artist. So I don't play the flute for them. I do like, so I work with one elementary school that's in like this rural area in Indiana that doesn't get much music instruction, if any, North Davies. And so right now I teach K through third grade. And so I go one Monday a month, and like we sing songs. We might make some instruments that they can take home.
Cool.
Play some music. I also work with the IPS, the Indianapolis Public School System's Roots program. That just started. I think I had my first Monday. I'm looking at the calendar on the 10th. Yes, on the
Okay.
10th. And so that one is really cool too. So that works with students who don't do well in typical school environments due to like having issues controlling their like emotional, behavioral needs. And just need like smaller class sizes, honestly, and different types of instruction than like just sitting down and hearing teacher talk at you.
Mhm.
And so for that one, I just go on Mondays and we play some music together. And so that's, I think it's second grade through high schoolers. Um,
Hmm.
and so this has been interesting because like my background is in elementary school music. And so like trying to relate to, I think I did it at the end, but relating to high schoolers has been new because like that's always been like a scary thing for me. I was like, I don't know. But
We don't remember the times of high school.
like middle school, I thought I would have issues with. Like that's what I always steered clear of.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But they were
Same.
chill. They were chill. But like the high schoolers, like I got three of them. Like they laughed at some of my jokes. They
Some.
they eventually called me Miss J. So it's been fun. So that's what I do there. I work for someone that Dom knows, maybe Daisy knows, but Lydia Cullen. Yeah, Lydia
Mhm.
Cullen.
Mhm.
So they're the vice president of Art Makes Indie. And so they were like, "You're good with kids and you like music. Can you work for us?" And so I said, "Yeah." So that's been really fun lately. And also like, I don't know, my passion is music ed first and foremost. So this kind of got me back in it, and I'm
Yeah.
appreciative of
Oh, that's so good to hear.
it. Hmm.
Daisy, I think I'm gonna.
People are sending so many like connections
I was
and
gonna say.
resources in the chat. I was gonna pop it out. I'll give you a list later of everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say,
If you're
Daisy, do you
sending,
need to read these to Kennedy, or should I ask
I mean,
one more question?
ask another question after I say if you're sending Kennedy things that remind you of other projects you're involved in, I will make a list for Kennedy. We can talk about that later.
Okay. Kennedy, I respect you as a scholar and a writer because you normally dislike jargon, and it's super. What you write and what you present is super comprehensible. That being said, I know there's one bit of academic jargon that you've implemented in your own vocabulary because you posted about it, and that is neuroexpansive. Can you explain this word and why you prefer it?
Yeah. So I can't think of the person that coined it, but it is a Black queer person online that I can post you the link once I find it, or send it to either Dom or Daisy, and
Send it to
then
Daisy,
you can
yeah.
do the thing. Okay. But they were talking about in their post a little bit about how neurodivergence has been defined through the white gaze mainly. So think in the same, and which is kind of true, and not kind of true, it
Mm-hmm.
is true.
Mm-hmm.
And like how thinking about how people that aren't neurotypical, which is neuroexpansive, is what they're trying to get at, but like people who aren't neurotypical are usually diagnosed through this understanding of what white neurodivergences.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I have OCD. That's not a neurotypical thing. I didn't get diagnosed until I was 20 because how it presented didn't seem normal, and like I seemed high functioning or whatever that means. And I was suffering. Like I had to like go to a bunch of different places and like really advocate for myself. My mom had to advocate for me. The CAPS person just said like you can just talk about your feelings. I was like, there's something happening in my brain. It's not that doesn't feel like I feel like my brain's breaking. And like they
Yeah.
were like, it's okay, talk it through. And I'm like, no. I mean, like we had to move through.
You're like, I
And
don't
like,
know how many other ways I can tell you that what I am experiencing is not the same thing as other
yeah.
people.
Yeah, it's like I'm telling you what's happening and you're not listening. Which is a common experience with people with Black bodies. But anyway, that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing in the medical.
Yeah.
But and it's because it's like usually read within like these white and so like my narrative is like mostly it's just ruminating thoughts. I don't clean anything. I don't like I'm not obsessed with germs or something, and like that's not typical to
Mm-hmm.
OCD. Another example is like how Black people who are on the autism spectrum usually aren't diagnosed until later in life because they usually don't look at Black people as having autism.
Mm-hmm.
And so like there's like all of these examples of like how Black people who aren't neurotypical aren't fall through the cracks because like it's not Black people aren't included in that definition of neurodivergence. And so neuroexpansive, I thought, so I hate jargon, except when it does stuff like this. So neuroexpansive allows for the inclusion of Black people, I think. I feel like it are people that are just left out of like this like the white gaze, I think, and like makes room for people that usually aren't included in like the definition that it was or the definition that it was intended for, if that makes sense. So I feel like neuroexpansive was created with the intent of being included or being expansive. And I think like another jargony term that I like is like misogynoir.
Yeah.
That's like that. So like that's jargon, but I think it's good. Like I think so if you don't know what misogynoir is, it like combines misogyny with noir. And it specifically gets at coined by Moya Bailey. So it specifically gets at like the specific experiences of misogyny that Black femmes and Black women experience because it is different in the society. And so like that creation of that word, in my opinion, is necessary in the same way that I think neuroexpansive is necessary. Now there's like some jargony terms, like I'm just like, I don't know why you think that that's important. Like I'm sorry to ethnomusicology or sound studies, but like Stephen Feld, like his echomusicology, I'm like, you could have left that in your dreams. Like, I don't think that's important. I don't know. But it's stuff like that. But sometimes I think jargon's necessary. And by jargon, I mean just like, but I don't think it's jargon in that sense. I think it's making way for new ways of being is important.
Yeah.
And explaining it. Yeah.
It's jargon, but what I'm taking from this is you're actually going to use a word if it helps explain a phenomenon there's not enough words to describe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in the use of it, you're probably also going to explain it. Because the hard part about jargon is that it's just kind of like cherry picked and dropped in, and then it's like not really explained. But obviously there's a reason for the explanation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's like it helps usher in. I think words like this help usher in the voices and the needs and the experiences that have been left unexplained. And so, of course, they're not going to be explained by these words that were created without input from these groups of people. But anyway, so I do like neuroexpansive. I will find that person that coined it.
I think
that is cool.
I have a weird feeling Daisy was looking, but
I was looking for it. I'm trying to find it.
Do that.
I put in an article from Misogynoir.
Yes, Moya Bailey.
Yeah, but Moya Bailey also has a new book too. I haven't gotten it yet because it's not free yet.
Is it Dr. George Gonzalez?
No, I think. Let me find. Roscoe.
We can.
I hear you.
We can post it in the 4th hour too.
Yeah, well, we can post it later too.
What do you think, Daisy? Fun questions or chat questions?
I think fun questions, because most of the chat is like, oh, you're amazing and reminding me of this other thing.
Yeah, people are recommending things. and other scholars to ask if you know them. Yeah.
I would say, I didn't mention it earlier, but when you're talking about like rage or like spite as motivating your research, I like couldn't help but think of Rest in Peace Bell Hooks and theory as liberatory practice, because I feel like there is, for as much as we like, speaking of jargon, like it can seem off-putting or like difficult or that you're not allowed in those spaces, that like pursuing those spaces with the intention of like, I don't know, finding the answers you have to the questions that you ask is like, I can be liberatory. I don't know. I always think about that when I'm like upset about theory or like academia in general. I'm like, there is a reason for us to be pursuing this kind of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I just found the name as well. It's Kasien Asasumasu.
Oh, you got it.
Got
Person.
it. Sweet.
Thank you, Kennedy.
But
Thank you, first time chat.
Yeah,
from
first time
viewer.
chatter, Kennedy AJ. Thank you so much, whoever you are.
but yeah, I think I both love it and I find it liberatory, and then I also can find it maddening. Oh my god, my dog has my
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. All right, Chad. Hope
Good,
you're ready. Dog appearing.
Possibly.
because I wasn't.
Dog.
Hi.
This is the Chowini.
Hi.
This is Roscoe.
Roscoe.
Little ginger chowini.
Well, this is actually one of the questions. Was just where is Roscoe?
Okay.
We found him, chat. We found him.
we got some other fun questions for you too, though.
Okay. What was I saying? Oh, yes. I came to the academy to like both like. Well, first I came because like I thought I could explain to racists why they were wrong and that they would listen and they would stop being racist. And then I realized that that wasn't working. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it for the community, and that makes me feel better. But then like what? And so like I find like theory, Black feminism in particular, like where I've been able to find more about that while in the academy has like been really worthwhile for me because like I've been able to articulate parts about myself that I couldn't necessarily, or articulate like certain feelings I would be having in certain spaces a lot of times in the academy, like where I would feel like this insider outsider thing or where I would feel excluded. But sometimes like I would, and like I've talked to Allie about it, Allie Martin, and it's like I would try to like theorize my way out of oppression, and I realized that that can't work necessarily. It's more of a collective thing, I think. But anyway, I totally hear what you're saying though.
Can I peep an astrology Instagram thing that I saw you post the other day?
Yeah.
Oh, go for it.
I only know that
I also love astrology. I'm a Cancer.
Oh my god. Okay, all right. Let me tell you something. I think that tell me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. But did you post that you have a Capricorn moon?
I do.
Because I also do.
Oh,
and I just want to say, like, intellectualizing yourself out of like feeling bad is like maybe a Capricorn moon thing because I do the same thing. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, how I explain it. So, like, I'm a Capri. For those of you who follow astrology, I get a feeling Dom does not.
I know chat does.
Chat does.
I know chat does.
I'm with you, Kennedy. Let's go.
Collectively,
so my sun is Cancer, my moon is Capricorn, my rising Sagittarius. So how I describe that for others who may not understand is that I cry a lot, but I get shit done while crying, which is the Capricorn moon, while I party. And that's my Sagittarius rising.
I do love that a lot. Oh my god. Benton Stream wants to know if you have co-star.
Wait, can you do me? Can you do me like that?
Well, what are your signs? I can also have your chart
Leo.
down.
It's Pisces, Leo.
No, are you a Leo? Are
Leo
you
rising.
Are you Leo rising or are you Leo moon?
I swear I'm Leo rising.
Okay, then I believe
All
it.
right, I love that you're a Pisces, Dom.
Yeah?
You're perfect.
I don't know what that means.
It just means that you're sweet and sensitive.
Aw.
But then the Leo means you have an ego.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Having fun was like waking up from my COVID slumber to say yes to Astro Talk.
Good. Thank you.
Oh my
Thank
god,
you for
everyone's
being
dropping
with us
their
tonight.
signs. Well, I'm Scorpio sun, Capricorn moon, Scorpio rising. So we have like big water gang in the chat right now.
See.
Everybody,
Capricorn, Libra, Capricorn. All right.
Yeah, look at that. And then like Sag, Cancer. Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Okay.
What's up? I love this so much. Okay,
Kennedy, let's get some fun questions. Let's lightning around some fun questions.
It's also fun. Yeah, let's do this.
Not like this isn't fun. Yeah, this is great.
I would also follow not all Geminis. It's a good.
Oh my god, I can't talk
trash
about
bag astrology is also fun.
I can't talk about Geminis.
Leo,
I love them so much. I'm not allowed to date Geminis anymore for personal reasons.
Having Fun says that she is Pisces Sun, Leo Moon, and she thinks that she and I are the same signs. So you might be right. I honestly Dude, like I don't know. I feel like this is my big blind spot
It
as a
could be.
folklorist that I don't know astrology. This
It
has
could
come
be.
up like on Facebook where like someone posted like something about like Jesus's chart, and I'm like, oh, that total Capricorn move, and they're like, no, that's obviously a Pisces move because Jesus is linked with being a Pisces. His logo is literally a fish, Dom. You're a folklorist, and I'm like, I'm
Oh
sorry.
my god. No, I think having fun is right. I think that you're like inverse or something. Pisces sun. I think Dom, you might be Leo rising, and having fun is Leo moon. But I don't know what having fun is rising. I think
Two
it's
fish
more
and a
about
lion.
that.
I don't know in what order.
Also, for folks who don't know, to just shorthand for people who are new to astrology, welcome. So the sun is who you are inherently. Your rising is how you present to the world. And then the moon is what grounds you. So yeah, anyway, all of that.
It's fun.
I'm into woo-woo shit, so
Love it. Yes. That's not Cancer energy. I love it. So cute. Okay.
Kennedy, what's the most preposterous thing a kid has ever said to you while babysitting?
That's a good
okay.
one.
So I babysit this girl. I babysat her since she was 4 years old, and she's now 8. So she said a lot of stuff to me. But so the most ridiculous thing she said to me was when she was 5. And she took my wallet out of my purse, sorry. And then she opened it up, and then she said, "Oh," and like a face just like that. "Oh, there's nothing in here." So sad. And then she chucked it across the room.
Oh my god.
And that broke my spirit.
Oh my god.
Insulted.
There's
Wow.
nothing in here.
There's nothing.
Another thing was
Tragic.
when what happened, she was just giggling to herself in a corner, like a horror movie. And then I was like, what's going on? She was like, it's funny. And I was like, what's funny? She was like, you are, Kennedy. And then she just
Oh
ran
my
away.
god.
So yeah, she's a funny child.
Wow.
Yeah, that is
That's
a horror
good.
movie. She's about to pull a knife out of her pajamas. Yeah.
Yeah. Pajama knife, let's go.
Yeah. Agreed, chat. Agreed, just to think. Yeah, kids are brutal.
Yeah.
Kennedy, as a flautist, can you weigh in on Lizzo as a flute player?
Oh, she's actually really good. I feel like people like talk shit about her flute playing. I'm like, nah, her technique is solid. And like, I don't know, like her tone is beautiful. Which I feel like is one of like the hardest things to do, especially if you're moving. Her tone is good. Her technique is good. She can double tongue. I still have issues with double tonguing if I don't practice long enough. So it's like she obviously like keeps up with her flute craft. So she has mad props for me. That's it.
I'm always impressed when like people are performing on stage and singing and playing instruments at the same time that they are also highly choreographed dancing. Like I don't know, and it's like smooth,
especially for the flute, like which is like an instrument that you need your lungs for. And so like if you're moving,
dancing, you also need your lungs for.
Yeah, and so it's like I don't know. I think she's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's exactly
also I'm biased, so I'll just say like any rapper, because I study hip, any rapper that plays the flute, like I'll just be like, yes, we need more content.
Well, that'll go right into the next question, which is what is the most quintessentially ATL hip hop song in your head?
Oh, let's see. I just went straight to OutKast.
Okay.
So let's see. I don't know. It has nothing to do with Atlanta. Oh, well, actually, I'll say Rosa Parks.
Okay.
That would be like the most. But like also, I think like any snappy music, like the lean with it, rock with it, that like originates from Atlanta. Like that feels, because like we still do that at parties back home. And it never seems like we get tired of it. So even though it sounds like I'm tired of it right now, like I am when I'm not doing it, but when I'm in the moment, I'm into it. So yeah, anything OutKast, I feel like is great.
Awesome. I love OutKast. And Kennedy, what makes a biscuit the perfect Southern biscuit, and how is this achieved?
Okay, yes. Okay, so what you need to do, you need frozen cold butter to start with, right?
Yes.
You need buttermilk, and you need white lily flour. You can use other flour.
Oh, okay.
if you're gonna have bougie Southern biscuits, white Lily. And so then you need to cut the cold butter into cubes, or you can grate it. I cut mine into cubes from the freezer, and then you mix it. So then you mix it in the flour, and then you make a well, and then you pour a cup of buttermilk in your flour. And then you can start to. Sorry, I was like trying to think of how do I make biscuits. And then you can start to mix it. You don't want it to get too mixed though, but just like wet enough where like you can take it out, right? And then like you flatten it out, you fold it over a couple of times, and then you can start cutting out your biscuits. I still don't have a biscuit cutter, so I use a cup.
Yeah.
Very good. Very, very folklore of you.
Yeah.
To use a homemade tool.
But yeah, I think like that's like, and usually that gives you about 12. And like you don't want to overwork the flour, or you're gonna have shitty biscuits. Bloomington doesn't have good biscuits, and like that's why I learned how to make biscuits. And like I had to pull it out of my grandma's stole because she wouldn't tell me. So.
Oh my gosh.
Kennedy, 2 weekends ago, I made biscuits for the first time.
Ooh, how'd that go?
I think it went okay. I can definitely, when you said buttermilk, I think that was missing because I just used like whole milk, and yeah, there was it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, but I did like have the butter
Very
in frozen
edible.
cubes though. It was very edible. Half of them I tried to do like Red Lobster biscuits, and I did like cheddar and Old Bay. Yeah.
Oh, I have a good New York Times recipe for that. They make this like called like fluffy cheddar biscuits.
Yeah.
And it's basically used the same recipe that you use buttermilk, too, and you do the same thing, but then you add cheddar. But yeah, I can share that in the chat if people are interested.
And speaking of chat, you can tell who the others are on the chat because they're
are like
concurring with you. Yeah. Also, Joel Chappening, who's at the Kentucky Folklife program, says you're not going to get good biscuits north of Jasper, Indiana. Come down to Bowling Green. He's got good biscuits for you.
Also, is Caroline in the chat by any chance?
I could not tell. So. I do not think so. Caroline tends to catch the odds.
Okay. She just texted me to settle a debate. Is hip hop a genre or a culture? It's a culture. But that's anyway. Yeah, so the genre is rap. Hip hop is like so like
that's very relevant.
Hip hop would contain like rap, graffiti, break dancing, like the dress. That's hip hop.
Yeah.
Rap is the music of the culture. Anyway. Let's see. What are these bears about?
Oh, that's for Daisy. Those are thylacines. Those are Tasmanian tigers.
They're a little, they're like a creature I wrote my master's thesis on.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're meant for like hype. Like that's good. Yeah.
The way they open their mouths look like they're very excited.
Like,
they just have big jaws.
Yeah, so you're getting lots of hype. I know. So these are so funny. People are being funny. Y'all are funny. Thanks, chat. For
thank you for dropping that legally not Red Lobster biscuits question.
Totally legally not Red Lobster biscuits.
Yeah, a recipe rather. That's a question.
I think we're ready to play a fun little game. Are you ready to play a game?
I think we are.
That's not Mortal Kombat.
Do you want to do the honors, Daisy, or should I?
I can do it while you're setting it up.
Do it.
Kennedy, have you ever made a tier list?
A tier list? No, what's that?
Well, number one thing you should do is click watch stream on our Discord chat.
Okay.
And you will be shown a tier list. Tier lists are something that come from fighting games.
You're so good at this, Daisy.
I'm excited. Speaking of fighting games, I was like, wow, this is very...
We're doing a fighting game this week.
We're doing a fighting game this week, but that's not what our tier list is about. They've gotten popular on Twitch because it's a way to rank everyday items and things that folklorists love. So we have designed a tier list for you to rank on a scale of F to D, S being superior, superb, the best thing you could possibly imagine, your dream tier, and D being the worst. We can create an F tier if it's just so bad. We had to
do that last week.
Okay.
But we would really love for you to rank on our tier list Southern soul foods, but entrees and sides only.
Entrees and sides only. Yes, when we did dessert, that would open a whole can of worms. We
That
have to
would
keep
be
it.
too
We're
many.
keeping it to entrees and sides. All right.
Yeah.
So
And Dom will let you know what each of them are.
thank
and
you
can
very
put-
much to Caroline, the architect
Yes.
of the Southern food tier list.
Yes, everybody's posting saucy and banging pots with a wood spoon and all kinds of fun stuff in the chat.
So we're gonna start it off because you mentioned because the last question was about biscuits. We're gonna start it off with biscuits and gravy. Where does this go on the chart?
S.
Oh, all the way up top. S. Okay, immediate
Hell
S.
yeah! All
And
right,
why is that?
start
and why
off
is that?
strong.
Why? Because it's like quintessential breakfast food, I think. Breakfast, lunch, dinner food.
That's true.
In this. Yeah, and then like I learned how to make a vegetarian gravy. I'm a vegetarian.
Ooh.
So yeah.
You're in good,
and
you're in
Oh,
good
wow.
company with me.
Half of this list might be a little rough, but let's move to something
No,
that is definitely vegetarian next, and that's cornbread.
Ooh. So if it's Southern cornbread, I would say A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to
As opposed to Northern
like
cornbread.
the corn muffins at Smokin' Jack's. Is that what you're? Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah, and that's like entirely too sweet. Like that, I don't know. I don't mess with that. Like I think cornbread needs to be like a savory type of bread that you pair with chili or something. But not like it's supposed to be like I don't know. It's supposed to be like a quick bread that you pair
Yeah.
with. I don't know. I'm also a family from Texas, so I'm also biased with like how I use cornbread. But
Sure.
chili is usually where my brain goes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big chili cornbread person too.
I like the internal logic there too of like A tier because you can mess it up. Yeah, I like that. Next up, we've got collard greens.
Oh, okay. So I just learned how to make vegetarian collard greens.
Nice.
And I used to hate them. So I think I'm gonna put S. Yeah.
S. Now
Hell
is it S
yeah.
below?
Them.
Is it below biscuits and gravy or on top of biscuits and gravy?
Below.
Below. Okay.
Yeah. Biscuits and gravy will always be my love.
There we go.
But the secret for me is using liquid smoke.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. You get like
it imitates the flavor of the ham
the
hock.
ham flavor. Yeah.
hmm
That's great. Next up, we've got fried okra.
Oh, that's S. Oh my god. Where would I
Foods
put
are
that?
so good.
Where
They're
do you-
all S.
I love how it wasn't just S. It was oh.
Oh yeah, let's go.
It's before collard greens for me.
Before collard greens, after biscuits and
Yeah.
gravy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chat seems pretty divided on where
Oh my
okra
God.
goes.
Half the people are like, yes, fried okra and it was so good, and the other half are straight to D.
Oh,
my
I don't know.
God.
Maybe you're having the slimy fried okra. I don't know.
There's a way to make it not slimy. And people,
Yeah.
I've had like slimy stuff. I'm like, nobody ever taught you how to make that.
Oh, I can appreciate the slime sometimes.
Oh.
Next up, we've got grits.
Okay, but what goes in the grits? Like,
You tell me.
so I do cheat sometimes
Mm-hmm.
when I'm back home and I get fish because we're closer to the ocean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as weird.
Wait, aren't you
And
from
so shrimp
Atlanta?
and grits.
Aren't you from Atlanta?
Atlanta's
Yeah,
way
but I have
closer to the
family
ocean.
in
Okay.
Savannah.
Okay, you have family in
Oh,
Savannah.
okay.
Okay, yeah. Savannah I
Yeah.
associate with shrimp and grits. Yeah.
Yeah. And so my favorite thing to make are shrimp and grits when like I'm home with my Savannah family. And so with that, oh no. So if it's shrimp and grits, I would put that S.
This is just butter in this picture.
Butter grits.
I mean, I would eat those too, especially like the grits from like this might be trashy for some, but the grits from Waffle House will get you right every time.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yes.
I think
Waffle House
and I
is-
just
is
feel
a
like they're
killer.
always there for you, grits. Like my grandpa hated them because he said they have no nutritional value, but who cares? Like I just think they're good for the soul. They make you warm. They have to be S for me.
So grits are S?
Yes, they're S, yes.
Okay, real top heavy so far, but where's this going among
I
S
loved
tier?
Goes after fried okra.
After fried okra. This is
Yes.
good because last
Okay.
week the tier list was super bottom heavy.
I love this because I feel if this tier list is any indication about how you feel about grading your students, I love the vibe.
Oh.
And it's I'm like,
They're
yay!
all good. They're all good in their own way. guys.
Yeah, like even if it like I posted about this, but I don't know if everyone's seen it. Like I had one student that they were supposed to watch the Black Panther documentary,
Yeah.
Vanguards of the Revolution. But we assigned this the year that Black Panther the Marvel movie came out, and so one student answered questions watching the Marvel movie instead of the documentary.
That's hysterical.
And so they were like, who was FBI agent Hoover? Or why was he after the Black Panthers? They're like, because T'Challa had vibranium. And like, I tried so hard.
That's the character played by Martin Freeman, of course.
I had to try so hard to give them points. Like, I was like, okay. I was like, I could see where you were going with that. And like, I think I gave them a C at the end of the day.
Oh my God, real a C?
Yeah.
Let's see if anything makes it to C tier here. Okay.
Their analysis was good.
It was. I had to work really hard to come up with that answer.
Oh.
That is hysterical. I would be like crying. Like, this is like a movement, right?
Anyway.
That's really good.
Kennedy, up next, we've got Hoppin' John.
I only eat that on New Year's, so I would have to put that, but I like it. I would have to put that at a B.
In B?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not an all-the-time food. All right. Up next, the only one of these I grew up eating as an Italian American, and that is fried green tomatoes.
Shit. I love those. Sorry.
Me too.
S.
Yeah, it's S. It goes before grits.
Okay.
After
Okay.
That's good.
Next up, we've got catfish.
I think it's a mental thing for me where I can't eat catfish all the time, but I don't mind it. And it has to be at a specific place. And it has to be by people who know how to make catfish.
That is a lot of caveats.
That's a lot, yeah.
So for me, it would be B behind Hoppin' John.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, fried chicken.
Okay. So I love fried chicken, even though I'm not a meat eater anymore, but I remember the taste. So I became a vegetarian when I was 11. And I'm 26 now, but I still remember the taste of fried chicken.
That's very important and key.
Specifically from Publix. I don't know if I have any like Georgia, Florida people.
Oh my God, the tendy sub. The tendy sub.
Oh my God, one of my partners from Florida and is like, people fight at Publix. Like, fighting.
I remember like when I was little, they would like the chicken person would like give me a free chicken leg, and like I just still remember how good it was.
Yeah.
And, like, even though I don't eat it anymore, it has to go in A. In front of cornbread.
In front of cornbread. Okay, great.
Yeah, it's just even the memory, and like I haven't been able to recreate that with like Gardein, with Green Star, none of that. With tofu. No.
So I'm seeing that these are all either vegetarian or you can successfully recreate like a vegetarian substitution. And the gatekeeper being fried chicken, which is a memory.
Yeah.
All right, we got two more left. Second to last is chitlins.
I can't. I respect those who eat that. I can't do it. It's gonna have to go in D for me.
Oh, you're straight to D moment. We need a button for that.
I know, we need a button that's like straight to D.
And last up, and I put this last because when Kim Stryker was on the show, this was her top of S for the Virginia Foods tier list. So we got to know where it stacks up for you. Country ham.
Oh. Have you guys ever had like a country ham Benedict?
Yes.
Those are good. I had one right before I became a vegetarian, and I still remember it. And so it's behind fried chicken, that's for sure.
Okay. Between fried chicken and cornbread?
No, it's not even up there for me, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Because like the memory is too...
Keeps falling.
It's not
Keeps
as
falling.
distinct. I think it's behind catfish.
It's behind catfish. Is it in B or is it in C?
Oh, no. It's not in C. Because I think remember it being good.
There is a
And when
drop
I
off
see
before
people eat it,
chitlins. Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, chitlins is just not. I like my great grandma loved them, and I love her and I respect her memory. I just can't eat those. But
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
There's
Wow.
a Greek proverb I read in a food studies book that it's got to sound better in Greek. It's got to be more coherent in Greek. But the English translation they gave was, "The hunger is not in the cookie; it's in your memory."
Okay.
And I feel like that's all the meat dishes on this are all about the hunger in your memory. But everyone, we have Kennedy's official Southern food tier list from biscuits to chitlins. How much of the hunger is in your memory? I always try to make Daisy laugh with those wrap ups at the end.
You've been pretty good. They're
Thank
pretty
you.
silly.
Thanks, Daisy.
Pretty silly. Yeah.
Kennedy,
Wow.
I you might have a few things to plug actually, but it's about the end of the interview. Where can people find you, and do you have anything you want to make sure to plug?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I think it's in the chat,
It's
but
in
it's
chat.
just
Yeah.
Kennedy. Okay.
I posted the
Yeah,
link to you.
I'm ridiculously active on there. I'm sorry.
That's good. It's good.
So yeah, I share a lot of memes. I share a lot of just random thoughts I have, mutual aid stuff,
Mhm.
ranting things. So like you can find me there. I also have a blog post that like I haven't posted anything to lately. But I think it's Kennedy Alexis Johnson or something like that. That's also in there. I published something if you want to read like how I think about like Black girlhood as a construct and like listening, and that's in the Journal of Folklore and Education,
Mhm.
and I think it's a public thing.
Yeah,
that
Daisy
you can.
just linked it.
Oh, okay, cool. This is great.
Yeah.
We try to help each other out.
And then also always the Gertrude Robinson Fund. Like as like a Black ethnomusicologist, like I think it's really important
Yeah.
to also support Black ethnomusicologists, especially those that are financially struggling. Also started by a cool person, Melanie Burnham.
Mhm.
I would totally donate if you can. If you can't, that's okay. You can plug it to other people. Here comes Pablo again. If you want to see.
Yeah, Pablo.
Come here.
Get up there,
Yeah,
Pablo.
and if
Playing hard to get. That's okay.
Aw.
and if
But
you
he's right
thought,
here.
if y'all thought about giving us bits or a sub tonight, consider just sending that straight over to the Gertrude Rivers Robinson
works
Memorial
too.
Gift Fund.
Thank
Why
you for
not?
thank you for the 2,000 bits we've got so far, but
Yeah, but you can also do that too
Yeah,
other
but
places too. And I'm
also-
sure some of you have anonymously donated already, so we're not keeping track of the fund. It's ongoing. You could donate to it forever, theoretically.
Everyone in chat, if you haven't already, give a few ladders for Kennedy. Wish Kennedy a GG if you're not a sub, but say thanks to Kennedy. Kennedy, thank you. Oh, and hi, Pablo. Kennedy, Pablo, thank you so much for coming on the stream tonight. Aww.
I love it.
I love that.
Thank you for being here. It was a really fun interview, and I think we learned a lot.
Thanks for inviting me. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Quilts have had a meaning on many levels. Making quilts helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.